asking me to join this very important event. And thank you, Chari. I mean, it's a privilege to be here with all of you. And I did hear also the JS Tara as well as JS Rupaji in the morning. And it is very clear to me that the agenda has been well set for this meeting. I want to add a few things which I hope that will be of use to all of you as you embark on this journey on finding solutions for cleaning India, for greening India, and for making sure that we are both a water secure country in the time of such adversity of climate change. There are two reasons why we need you. There are two reasons why startups are so important in the area of water, sanitation, waste management. In fact, in the entire area of governance and environmental management today. Firstly, it is very important because India is having to find its own path to how we will become a country which will be able to manage its waste as well as its wastewater and also become water secure. And I say this very carefully because if you look at the entire history of the way the Western world has managed its issues of water as well as sanitation, you will find that their strategies are not applicable for us. They have been very resource-intensive strategies. They have been strategies in which they have very high cost and they are very inequitable when it comes to the way we manage our cities. Which is why today in all the areas that we are discussing, India is having to reinvent its own pathway on how it will become a water waste wise country. Let's look at the issue of wastewater. It is very clear that in the rest of the world, the one paradigm of wastewater management, sewage management, has been to have more centralized systems, which have less need for innovation. Those are systems which are well developed in the world, which are well understood. We have to borrow them and bring them and fit them into our part of the world. But we find that does not work for us. It just is inapplicable in our context. And the reason is that we are still a country where vast numbers of people live in cities, in rural areas, which are not connected to the underground sewage system, will never get connected to the underground sewage system. In fact, connecting them to a centralized underground sewage system would both be cost ineffective and resource inefficient. It is much better the route that we are now taking today, which is to say, let each household become a generator of waste and therefore also responsible for its collection as well as its management, which is why the on-site systems are becoming much more important in today's context. Now, the management of these on-site systems require huge innovation. It requires us to think very much like when we have brought in the cell phone revolution into India, where we thought about instead of going on the landline, we will go through satellites. Now, all of us remember, we are old enough to remember how we all worked to get one telephone line because it was so difficult to get. Today, we are all connected because we have changed the way in which we have connected people through the satellite. We have become much more nimble. We have become much more advanced in the way we have done so. The same issue is coming up today with energy. Do we only do grid-based energy or decentralized energy? It's the same issue when it comes to water and sanitation. If every household becomes a household that harvests its rainwater, which as Taraji talked about, which uses efficient devices in its home to reduce its demand for water, which then recycles and reuses the water that leaves its home, we become a far more advanced country in the use of technology. Same thing with sewage. We have on-site systems, the collection of that, the management of that in terms of its transportation, taking it to treatment plants. It could be FSTPs, it could be STPs, but then making sure that all the waste from this is reused and recycled. Not a drop of water, wastewater is allowed to be wasted. Not any sewage or sludge is allowed to be wasted. It goes back into the land. In this case, we need to have so many different issues, so much more work, so much more integration between the lowest level of the household and the level at which that reuse and recycling is happening. Same thing with waste management. We are not following the Western method of waste management, in which you collect all the waste and you take it and you dispose it in landfills or incinerate it. India has decided that we are too poor a country to waste land for waste. We are too poor a country to waste waste, which means that we want, because of our own imperative, to follow a circular economy. Huge opportunity here to be able to track, to map, to recycle, to upscale, to upcycle products. The value chain has completely changed in our context. And that is why the role of startups is so much bigger for us than anywhere else in the world. The second reason that I think is very important is that now what we have agreed upon, and very rightly so under the SPM and the Amrut guidelines, is that every household is part of that value chain. So you are really looking at billions of customers. You're looking at billions of people being integrated into the way we manage our water, into the way we manage our waste, into the recycling of that waste, into the value addition that we can do so that that waste is not wasted. Now, this is really, in some senses, the Uberization or the Airbnbization of the water and waste sector of our country. Because even there, the biggest change that those companies made was in their understanding, in the paradigm shift that they made, was to say that what we are looking for is innovation and entrepreneurship, where every individual can become part of the value chain. So you do not have an Uber which owns taxis, it aggregates. You do not have an Airbnb which owns hotels, it aggregates. Now, this is really what the traditional Indian way of the informal economy has been. What the role of startups in this new India is, in the water and waste paradigm, is to stitch this together, to bring in all the modern tools of tracking, of monitoring, of making us understand how we can actually build that value out of the water and waste system we have. So, as I see it, there is huge opportunity and huge work that needs to be done. I do not want to go on listing because I think it has been very well listed for you, but I wanted to be able to give you why is it in this new India that we need your involvement. So thank you very much again for asking me to join this. And I really wish you all the best wishes. And I look forward to staying in touch. Thank you.